You're listening to the podcast, version 2.0 and beyond.
The best introduction for Michelle will be as an entrepreneur who opened one after the other successful businesses, from a bar and grill business to working in the insurance sector to a stock market investor to a fish spa and investor as an investment advisor. And I don't believe that she will stay there because she's somebody who's a serial entrepreneur. She's somebody who's always driven for excellence, and she's somebody who will continuously change her life. And what I loved about Michelle is that her openness to try new things, her hunger to learn from people across the globe, and the thing that stands out, when she doesn't like what she's doing, she fearlessly steps out of it. And that's something which is very rare treat. And as you would hear her further, you will see the energy, you will see the humility, and you will see most of all the massive action orientation. While I would describe Michelle as somebody with Midas touch, she had to work for it by going through grids of knocking on the doors in her career. And today she's a global entrepreneur and actually works out of anywhere she likes. She's also an adventurer, like the various certifications that you're garnering in in skiing and other things. That's just amazing. And what I love is Michelle, your mission, which is I help people to live a life of their dream by teaching them to play smart in the stock market. That's amazing. So what a life it has been, Michelle. Is there something you want to add to that?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm flattered that you're having me on your podcast. So I guess you kind of, hit all those points. I love business, and I love, stretching myself and growing and making money and helping others and making money by helping others. So I think you hit all the points there.
Awesome, Michelle. So when you think about making money, what's your belief about money? Because a lot of people who are listening to this podcast would be people who are in that mid-career kind of a time frame, and they are looking for version 2.0, and that's why it's called version 2.0 and beyond podcast. So the relationship with money is something very important. So what do you believe about money that you want to share?
I mean, I personally have positive, thoughts about money. I believe that money makes you more of who you already are. So if you're, a good person, a decent person, a person that helps somebody, a person that, enjoys giving to others, money allows you to, become more of that. Obviously, conversely, if you're not so much, and you have some negative attributes, maybe money, compounds that as well. So, I mean, I believe that money just creates, more opportunities, more options, it helps you, be more, give more, do more, for others, basically, is my belief.
Awesome. In fact, I like the point that you mentioned about money compounding what you already are. And it's actually, so that's really good. So Michelle, let's go back a bit. You've taken some really basic decisions in life. There was a point when you moved to Caribbean, and a lot of people move to small locations do not really want to come back to a bigger just get so comfortable. But you actually switched your life massively. So what led to those decisions?
I had been working, a lot during that time of my life, and I really felt like I was sort of missing out on a number of different, important things, in my kids' lives, my family's lives. But when I looked into it, selling my business, it was a great time. It was a great time to be a seller in the financial services industry. I had a number of different, interested people that wanted to, buy my business at that time, and I ended up selling it, and I bought a house in St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands before I even sold my house in Connecticut. So that was sort of a little bit scary, but sometimes you just have to take risks in life, right? And we lived there for 5 years. So we went from Connecticut, East Coast, big place, to small town island, back to a super big place in Los Angeles. In my view, the Caribbean in general is a great place to visit, but to live gets a little bit boring. So that's why I wanted to come back stateside, basically. Yeah.
I remember a quote by Tony Robbins that most people overestimate what they will do in 1 year time and grossly underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Now, looking at the last 10 years have been a massive roller coaster. There have been so many changes. So talk a bit about those changes in terms of, what has it been, what kind of a journey it has been in last decade? Because I think that's where your life took massive turn, and what led to that kind of a massive action by yourself?
I feel like I had a lot of points in my life where I took just massive action. I feel like, moving to the Caribbean initially, was like a massive action. There was a time where there was a major hurricane a couple of years ago in 2017, Hurricane Irma and then Hurricane Maria, 2 Category 5 hurricanes back to back within 2-week span, during which it really affected the Caribbean in general. First, the Virgin Islands, and secondly, Puerto Rico, where I was trying to relocate to after the first hurricane. That was a massive sort of shift that just made me adapt. I think when things happen that are outside of your control, and you're in a position of responsibility, really solely responsible for my kids, basically, it just forces you to to adapt. You know what I mean? Adapt or get swallowed up, and that wasn't an option for me. So, that was sort of a major shift. And then now coming back to Los Angeles, has been, back to the stateside, being in LA here, has been a major shift as well.
So in fact, as I was reading, from a failing business with not having any means and not having much, and then having to use your home for an Airbnb support, and having no idea where life will go and no support, to staying in Beverly Hills, trying to buy a house there, massive portfolio, supporting so many people, multiple properties, and especially the platinum partner of Tony Robbins. So how has your financial journey been? How has it been?
I mean, it's been certainly a period of ups and downs. I feel like my entire financial life, I guess, to be honest with you, has been a series of, kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. So it's kind of, sometimes, a little more zigzaggy, but I feel like when you have a strong enough reason why you want to accomplish something, and you take massive action, that basically you or anyone can accomplish whatever your goals are, whatever your objectives are. And so that's kind of how I kind of, push through those challenges, I guess you might say.
You mentioned about the hurricanes, and I see that twice in your life.
Oh yeah.
2 hurricanes, massive. What was the experience like? What was the feeling like? Scare followed by excitement, and changes.
Yeah, I mean, that was a major point in my life. So we had left in September of 2017. I was planning on taking my daughter to Boston from St. John for her first year college. And so my son and I had left, St. John to bring her, and, pack a suitcase and, maybe 4 or 5 things. And it was supposed to be a short trip. It was a pre-planned trip. And basically, I think it was like 4 days in that we were there was when Irma happened. And of course, we didn't have any communication with the island, St. John, St. Thomas. There was no, there were no phones, and the airport was closed and things like that. So it was challenging. So, at that time we were in a hotel, and I was thinking, okay, well, where do we go? And how do I start back up? So we flew to Puerto Rico. I was going to relocate. We were going to relocate to Puerto Rico. And I remember looking at apartments, and I found a school for my son, and we're getting ready to make all those changes. And then my daughter was turning 18 on September 17th. So it was like I wanted to fly back to Boston to celebrate her 18th birthday with her. We fly back to Boston, and Maria happens. Hurricane Maria hits Puerto Rico, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, now we can't go back to Puerto Rico. So we're in Boston, and so we ended up staying in Boston. So I rented an apartment, but it's challenging. I have to tell you, it's an experience that really, now after having so much time passed since that happened, I just feel like it just made me grow.
I think you've been very strong to live through all of that.
Yeah.
A very, very inspiring thing, because most people do not even see a hurricane, and they kind of assume that yes, sure.
Yeah.
So it must be quite moving in terms of seeing the devastation and seeing other people losing as well. And is that something that drives you in terms of helping people with their financial freedom as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a kind of a surreal experience, seeing a lot of the devastation, having gone back afterward, and many people didn't have, let's say, insurance. I was fortunate. I had insurance for my house, and I had a lot of damage, at my house, but, I had insurance, and I worked with contractors to rebuild, but many people weren't as fortunate in the same place as I was. So it kind of, puts things into perspective and makes you really, that much more grateful, I think, for everything that you do have. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, it's easy to kind of, say, oh, holy cow, I'm sad about this, or I'm stressed about that, or I wish I had this, but when you see, other people and you put things into perspective, I just think it, when you have gratitude for what you do have and you focus on that, I think is really what drives me. And in my industry, I mean, I'm compensated when I help other people make money, right? So I only make money when they make money, basically. So I help them be successful, and in turn that creates success for myself. So I think it's a great sort of circle, that I have.
What's the plan on the health front?
Yeah, yeah, thanks for your question. I mean, I feel like I'm on a journey in so many different areas, right? And health is sort of the foundation of what we have, right? So it's, your body is your temple, and I am, just eating healthier, making smarter, food choices. I work out with a trainer 3 times a week. I do a lot of, I meditate on a regular basis. I enjoy going to a float tank every other week. Typically, it's like a sensory deprivation. It's a pretty cool thing. I do a lot of different, health things. And I think, when you take care of yourself, you can, feel better. It's all about giving more and doing more and being more for the people around you, basically,
That's really good. So is this something that you've always been health conscious, or there's something which is...
No, not really. I think, I feel like my shift happened really when I separated from my ex-husband. I think that's kind of when my shift happened. So, I was married for a very long period of time, 3 kids, and sort of unhappy, for many years toward the end. And finally, I just had a breakthrough, a moment in time, at the end, where I said, enough is enough, and my happiness is important to me, and I'm going to make a shift. And I think that started sort of the snowball of things, just, being more business focused, more, improving my health. Yeah, so it's I would say the last 2 years is when I made that shift.
Beautiful. So you mentioned specifically about the challenges that you were going through. Now, a lot of people don't take action. They continue to be in that relationship. They continue to kind of...
Yeah.
And then because the cost of change is too high, because of social pressures.
Yeah.
I'm from India, where it's a big no and it's a massive social taboo. But even here in Australia, I've heard of stories where people actually go through separation. It's a very painful process, but they actually, they eventually sail through. Eventually, life starts working out. So if you could talk a bit more about that, in terms of what kind of a mindset should people be evolving within themselves, so that they can actually grow in that area. It will be really helpful for people.
I think it's common for people to say, okay, well, you're kind of used to the same old thing. And people say, I think oftentimes in their mind, here's the positives and it's not that bad, or, sort of rationalize different things. But really, I think, in my opinion, it just comes down to happiness. I believe that we were put on this earth to live our best lives, right? And don't sell yourself short, because life is short, and you have to be happy. And it's funny, because I remember staying together mostly I have kids and I don't want to break up a family and that kind of thing. But when you think about it, if I'm not living the best me and I'm not totally happy and embracing everything, then I can't be the best version of me for the people around me, right? So I feel like, oh my gosh, to be honest with you, I've made two stand out in my mind, very best decisions in my entire lifetime. And for me, one of them was separating from my husband at the time. And I think I'm a better person today, and I could be more, give more, and do more for others. So I say to other people, if you're not truly happy and abundantly happy, then you either have to work on the relationship that you're in or find a new relationship. That's my opinion.
That's so good. In fact, when you mentioned about the best version of yourself, I kind of obviously had to smile, because Deepa and I are actually, our mission is to enable 1 million people. So they make conscious choices so that the journey of becoming the best version of themselves. So it's so aligned with what we believe in.
Yeah.
And I feel just strong.
Fantastic.
Connection with you, because that is what we have to be. We are put in this earth to be the best version of ourselves. In fact, I actually recently wrote an article on LinkedIn that when you see greatness around you, and I guess when you're part of platinum partner of Tony Robbins, you kind of see more greatness around you. People are trying to be the best version
Yeah.
across all the aspects of the triangle, health, relationship, and achievement. And when you see those people achieving it, what excuse can I give myself to not do the same thing? Talk a bit about your business so that people know, oh, this is what you do, and this is obviously in contribution to the world and to people around you. And then we'll get a little bit more into how is it coming along together, and some more questions about that growth.
So what I do basically, business-wise, is as a mission. I don't say career really; it's more of a mission. Is I manage investment portfolios for clients. So I do that using stock options. A lot of people don't know really how stock options work, and sometimes people can think that they're risky, or they heard somebody say that they're risky or aggressive or something. But really, they're fantastic because it really provides people a way to take in passive income. For committing to buy a stock if it dips to a certain level. And if it doesn't drop to that level, you don't buy the stock, but either way, you keep the cash. So ultimately, I know that might sound confusing, but really it's like a low risk way to make a consistent, consistent and typically higher return in the market itself.
Awesome. And do you work with global clients? Like, for instance, one of the viewer might be from Australia or from India, and they want to invest. Do you work?
I do. The world is a big place, and the U.S. market. Lots of people that live in other places, other countries, Australia, Europe, et cetera, Asia, have the abilities to invest in the U.S. market, and I feel blessed that basically I just need my laptop and I can travel and I can have clients everywhere, and we can Skype and Zoom and do all these amazing things. I can help people anywhere. So my motto is really limit your risk as much as possible, slow and steady, and make that consistent return with as little risk as possible.
So Michelle, in this process, what are some of the books which have impacted you positively?
I try to stay active reading. First of all, I think when you exercise your mind, it's like your mind is a muscle, right? So it's kind of like going to the gym and lifting weights and doing push-ups. To reading, exercises your brain, which is very, very healthy and helpful. Right now I'm reading Tools of the Titans by, holy cow, Tim Ferriss. It's amazing. It's like a compilation of, him interviewing, tons of other successful people. I always think of don't reinvent the wheel, right? So let's study other successful people and what they do and what their habits are and what their beliefs are, and kind of model ourselves after other successful people. I think on the investment side, I think The Intelligent Investor by Ben Graham was an amazing book. It's kind of like old school. It was written a long time ago, but it gives you a lot of, fundamentals on, sort of investments in general. I spend tons of time reading. Of course, I love Think and Grow Rich. It was an amazing book. Outwitting the Devil by the same author. Was fascinating. I'm always reading things that can help me become a better me.
It seems that you're having the best days of your life, but something tells me that you're just starting.
I think so. I think you're right.
How's this 20-year Michelle Nacho? Where will she be in 20 years time?
Oh my gosh. So I envision my short-term goal is I want to buy a jet, right? So I actually have it on my phone as a screensaver. I'll show you. So let's see. So here we go. So this is what I'm looking to get. I don't know if you can see it. Cessna M2. So that's pretty cool. I feel like I fly a lot, like I travel a lot, and my intention is I want to be able to go where I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want. And how amazing would it be if I sent a jet to come pick you and your wife up to come visit? Now, Australia's a little far, so maybe that's not a good example, but you get my point, right? So, I mean, my vision is just, I want to become successful by helping other people become successful. And I want to be able to, I keep saying the same thing over again, but be more, give more, do more for the people that I love, those people around me, basically.
So look, a lot of people listening to this would be in their mid-career, and they will have a mixed feeling of maybe I can win this, but a lot of their decisions are being driven by fear of losing, and the whole idea of avoidance of pain, and am I enough, can I do that? So what would be a message to them, Michelle?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have so many messages to that. So first of all, in that book, Outwitting the Devil, it talks about the fact that we all, 100% of us, we all are raised and take on the beliefs of our parents, our grandparents, our relatives, friends, teachers, etc. And oftentimes, many people just live their whole life with those beliefs. I'm not enough. I can't do this. Oh my gosh, a plane. I can't buy a plane. All these limiting beliefs. But 2% of the population, and I would probably estimate that you, of course, and your wife, and even your viewers here are part of that 2% of the population, because they're here, right? They are different. So at some point we wake up and we say, you know what, we are whatever we choose to be, right? We manifest our own destiny, and we're only limited by our own limiting beliefs. So really, we all have those thoughts of, I'm not enough. It's not really to not have those thoughts anymore, but really to contain them and limit them. So I call it like a 90-second rule. So I have those thoughts a lot of times, and sometimes I maintain that thought for 90 seconds, and then I move on and I say, I am enough. And again, it all comes down to, if we have that strong enough why, and we make a massive action plan to accomplish what our outcome that we want to achieve, there's no stopping us, right? So it's unlimited. The sky is the limit.
That's so fantastic, Michelle.
Oh, we all have the power inside of us. It's not me. I'm not special, I'm not like some, savant or some, special, genius. We all have the intensity and the focus and the drive and the tools and the resources inside of us to accomplish whatever we want, right? So I think that can be an achievement of all of us.
Combined together, this is an amazing testimony of who you are, across all the various part of your triangle of life. You're playing football.
Thank you.
Talking every minute. For those listeners who want to work with you, how do they contact you?
I'm happy to talk to whoever has any interest in, questions or comments or anything. I'm on WhatsApp, for international people. And I'm happy to, it's flattering to me, and it's inspirational for me when people come to me and ask me, maybe for some help or with questions or that I can help with, and that makes me feel great. It makes me better at what I do, frankly. So I'm happy to help.
Awesome, Michelle. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very insightful and very inspirational for me. And again, all the very best for all the endeavors that you make.
Thank you.
I guess next time we speak to you, you will have you will be thinner and stronger. And
yes. Woo.
Great, Michelle. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.